student of mine, Barry Cooley, was very clever, I thought. He analyzed, there used to be this reality TV show called Cheaters, where they would hire detectives and they would, when the detective would, like, say, follow someone to a hotel room, they'd call up the partner and say, your husband just walked into the hotel room with someone else. Would you like to come down to the hotel and confront him? And a certain percentage of people would confront. And what he analyzed, so he analyzed all these episodes of this show called Cheaters. And what he examined was the verbal interrogations when people confronted their partners. And when men confronted their partners, the first question they wanted to know is, did you fuck him? Women, their first question was, do you love her? And so,
any commentary on that, Paul?
Yeah, well, that's very true. You know, and I talk about that all the time. The biggest threat to a woman is the emotional connection he would have to another woman. And also financial. That's something that they focus on because to the innate drive is that, you know, a guy would favor another woman and therefore favor those children above her own children. Right. And so that's where that comes from. Sexual infidelity, not that women are wanting, you know, like, yeah, go ahead and, you know, go behind my back and bang somebody else. But it's less threatening, whereas sexual infidelity is the most threatening for a dude. And so, you know, he's illustrating that point, you know, and you can see this stuff, how these instincts and these innate drives manifest themselves in a show like Cheaters, you know, where the guy is focused on the sexual and the girl's question will be, did you love her? You know what I mean? And that sort of thing. This is why particularly like looking at exes, for example, this is a really good one. A woman is more like, I've had women that are okay. I've had women that are okay with me banging other people. I've had and they're just with me anyway. I've had women who, most of my relationships, they're open to doing threesomes and stuff like that with other women because that's sexual. And in our harem structure, that was once a part of our past. Women are more sexually fluid and can be turned on by another woman, even if they're not identified as like bisexual, right? That's very common. But the same woman who would be okay with me banging somebody else in a context, or, you know, being with her, you know, and let's say having a threesome, she would be absolutely not okay, like in the most vitriol way, if I even conversed or talked to an ex-girlfriend in a way that was, you know, a little bit too much. You know what I mean? And the reason why is because she knows with that ex-girlfriend that if I was with that ex for a period of time, a year, 2 years, who knows, she knows that there's an emotional connection there. And therefore the ex is the bigger threat than some fun party girl or something that just wants to get railed and that we bring into the bedroom.
Isn't it funny how they get so feral over the ex?
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, you're here, idiot. Like,
right. I know it's insane, but that is you know, but and for us guys, like, we're not as threatened if, you know what I mean? She's like, you know, if there's some social connection with an ex that's more forced, not her choosing, right? And I mean, she doesn't want to be a bad person, or she's like, whatever, and she can, you know, as long as like there's no sexual component, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'll use from my own experience, like my previous girlfriend, like her ex was in town, like a person that I knew. I got along with the guy. I could hang out with the guy. It didn't bother me one bit. You know, and the reason it didn't bother me is because I knew that I was her sexual best. And so I knew that I had sexually bested him. If there was a contest for it, that in her mind, I had won that contest. There's no question about that in my mind. So I had no care or give a crap about whatever interaction she had with this guy. Now, if there was ever an inkling though, or a sort of, you know, tell that this guy had her in some way sexually, not only would I have been not feeling the same way about that ex, but I actually wouldn't have felt the same way about the relationship. I would have exited the relationship over that. And so that's, I can tell in my own life as somebody who's, a dominant guy I have choice with women. I'm not accepting at all, you know what I mean? Sexual infidelity. Like I don't have to, and I won't do it, but these other things I'm not so hyper giving a crap about. We call it hypersensitive. That's not really the right word, but I'm not, you know what I mean? As long as boundaries are being maintained, if boundaries get crossed a little because of her just unawareness or not wanting to be seen as a bad person, I'll check her, but I'm not like going overboard. But if I think she's going to go bang somebody else, or she has another dude has something on her sexually and that I don't have, it's like, cool. Well, I'll just find another girl then who doesn't have that issue, And so it's interesting how these things show up.
Well, this is why I'm so adamant about being a guy like us, doing for men out there to be the guy that we are, to have the opportunity to have choice, because pretty much at our position, like you can't unred pill us, and there's levels to game, and the more you like intensify your intelligence of game, the more red pilled you get, and you can't go back, and it's permanently who you are, right? That being said, like we are absolutely not starved for choice. Right. Each of the women in our lives right now, if we were to kick them out of our lives, they would be in a very, very devastating position compared to us.
Oh yeah.
Because they would, the next guy they would go to is going to be a downgrade. And then in addition to that, if they are like guys like us, like we can kind of like coach our women through their stupidity. Like, all right, listen, sit down, stop, don't eat the crayons. Here's why you don't eat crayons, right? But the next guy is probably not going to be capable. The majority of men are not capable. Majority of men are blue-pilled. Majority of men are not like us financially, mentally. And it's just such a good position to be in.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no better position than being, we'll say, contextually the alpha male, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's an interesting, I think it was Carl, the gendernomics guy. I kind of heard this, maybe this idea first from which it makes so much sense. I'm like, oh, that's a really good way of putting it. But we had that saying, eggs are expensive and sperm is cheap. Right. But the reality is alpha sperm is more expensive than all of it. And Bingo. So when Bingo. You have, when you're the guy who's the catch, wow. You have absolute choice. And that's where you should be, because although women are the selectors, we're the leaders. And as the leader, you need to have that power. If you have that power, you can have a girl that's a good complement and lead that relationship in the direction you want without, her damaging herself or you damaging yourself or, whatever, right? It's the way to go when there isn't that power, when a guy doesn't have sexual marketplace power, he can too easily get discarded, it just has to do with value. And first, let me expand on that real quick, because people in the chat might not understand where this comes from. When we have this connection, like this desire, I talked about this last time a bit. When we talked about neurochemicals, we have part of ourselves that wants to take care of a woman. Right. This is why we get in trouble. Guys who try to act like they're cool and they don't have that. Okay, well then why'd you have one-itis? You know what I mean? Like the reason for that stuff is the caretaking aspect. The reason for wanting to be in a relationship is we want a close relationship with somebody that we can more or less take care of. And I don't mean cook her dinner and clean the kitchen, take care of, but that's one way and usually a beta way of doing it. But I mean, in terms of financial, in terms of sexual needs, in terms of emotional, needs and whatever, right? Like just, we want to caretake for her. Her desire or her drive is to take care of children, not take care of a guy. And so her selection and attraction on a male is based on his inherent value, not not the emotional connection definitely can be there, but the desire and attraction part goes away if his inherent value isn't high. And so, whereas her inherent value doesn't necessarily need to be high. If she's attractive to us and we want to have sex with her and she makes us feel good, we don't care what her income is. We don't care what, bad choices she's made. I mean, yeah, it's guys on the internet will say they care, but the reality is they pick girls all the time who are hot and make them feel good with a past riddled full of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, they don't, at the end of the day, attraction and feeling good, it trumps all that stuff. And it's not predicated on her value that she brings to the world. Like, it's nice if, she volunteers and she has a great job, but that's cool. It's bragging points and all that, but it's not.
Yeah, but who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah. Right? It's not anything we're going to inherently select a girl for. And that's a reason why, being that dominant guy with choice is so important, because for the relationship stability, she needs to see you as that, or her desire and attraction just won't be there. It's how her neurochemical system's wired.